Okay, social media is one of those topics where it seems like information is endless. Things are constantly changing. It can feel a little bit daunting, but I'm going to give you a quick, rapid lesson on how to kind of improve your social media and then feel confident with it right off the bat. So, the first thing I want you to know is that when you're working in a business that relies heavily on the online social media space, like ours does, but really any business um, in this decade relies heavily on social media, whether you're doing network marketing or whether you're a clothing or coffee company. So, on social media, if you think of social media as this giant kingdom, content is king. What you put out is king of the kingdom. But if content is the king, then certainly you have to make originality and being authentically you the king's queen, if that makes sense. So we have content as the king, and then originality is his queen. So we're going to talk about both of those things. All right, so content, first of all, what you put out matters. You have to remember that like attracts like. So when you are authentically you and you put out things that you care about, you talk about things that you care about, you're going to attract like-minded people. So you always want to be thinking about, am I adding value? Is what I'm sharing adding value to somebody's newsfeed or in the story, whether it's via humor, something funny and relatable, or a quick tip, or maybe a life lesson that you've learned, or maybe it's even just, here's a quick idea for a date night outfit. So value, it comes in all different shapes and packages and is definitely unique to the individual, but when you share something, and the good news is you only have to share on social media one great post a day, right? But when you share something, does it resonate with people? Does it add value in some way? Like if I just shared, okay, this is my lunch, here's my salad, awesome salad for lunch, like a picture of my food without much detail, that doesn't really add any value. I could take the same picture of me holding a salad or something and maybe talk about how, in the past as a young adult, I struggled with um, portion control, or I struggled with overeating, or I struggled with not eating the right stuff and trying all these crazy fad diets. But now I found a way to incorporate things like vegetables and think differently about food. So you see where I'm going? I'm kind of putting a story behind the photo. When you post anything, though, keep this in mind. Your picture needs to be clear. It needs to be eye-catching, right? You can't have a super grainy, super dark image where it's hard to see what's going on, or it's just, not something you'd want to pay attention to. Really think about the things that catch your eye when you're scrolling Instagram or you're looking at Facebook. Like, what photos make you stop and why? Is it the bright lighting? Is it the clarity? Is there like a color scheme going on there? So you really want to make sure that when you're putting out content, the pictures that you're using are quality. You want to make sure that you're maybe in front of natural light or using a better camera. It might require upgrading your phone, which is a tax write-off, by the way, since your business is social media. But make sure that you're capturing a good quality photo. Then with that photo, tell a little story. It can be a funny story. It can be more personal. It can be vulnerable. But you want to be authentically you, not resharing other people's pictures. It has to be your content. Social media likes originality. So when you're resharing other photos or you're resharing videos that have gone viral, that really kind of buries you at the bottom of the news feed. You always want to be organically uploading content. Now, this doesn't mean that as a mom, I might see a funny meme about motherhood and not think it's funny and that relates to me, and I know it would relate to my audience. So I'll share that, but I'll download the image and upload it as mine rather than just click the share button. So that's a quick side note, but make sure you're taking good quality photos, and it's okay to kind of stage them. So for example, if you do a workout and where you work out is the basement and it's dark and it's early morning, it's hard to get a good photo there. There's nothing wrong with finishing your workout, then going upstairs, setting up your timer cam in front of, better lighting in front of a window or going outside and getting that post-workout selfie that you're going to maybe talk about, but now you have a better image to go with it. So you want your image to be eye-catching and clear, and then you also want to start with a sentence that's going to grab people's attention. So today I posted about food and how food has always been harder for me than nutrition. So my headline was I've always been at battle with my food, or something. Like, it grabs people. You want your content to grab people's attention so that they don't keep scrolling. All right. So what I want you to do today, after we've kind of gone through some lessons this week and you've started posting more on social media, is look at your last 10 posts, the last 5 to 10 things you've shared on social media, and really review them. That's the first R. Review and evaluate. So pay attention to what got more traction or interaction, what had more people liking the post or commenting on it, and what was different about that post. You can kind of identify what you're doing well with and what you need to work on just by reviewing your own past posts. Okay, so kind of go back and look and think, if I'm representing myself as a magazine, like, was this eye-catching? Was it interesting? If I didn't know myself really well, is this something I'd want to stop and read? Because you have to remember, a lot of the people following you, they're not your mom, they're not your grandma who care about every little word you say. So you have to make sure that what you're talking about is interesting to people who maybe don't know you that well. Going live doesn't work. So review the last 10 posts and kind of really give yourself an honest evaluation. Now, after you review your posts, you have the opportunity to refine them. That's the second R. So refining means looking at, like I talked about, how you can improve, or maybe what you can do more of. When you see what posts performed well, you can kind of identify which ones you want to do more of. Okay, so people really like when I talk about marriage and my tips on creating a healthy relationship with my spouse. So going forward, I'm going to create more content like that and take, more high quality photos of me and my spouse, right? So you can kind of refine what you need to work on and identify what's already going well. So after you, hold on, I'm going to call you right back. Okay, that's the trouble when shoot a live video on YouTube. Okay, so after you review and refine, you're going to repeat. Consistency is everything, right? So you want to get in the habit of weekly, and you can do this on Fridays or at the end of the week, going back, reviewing your posts, seeing what performed well, and then repeating that same step. Because when you're constantly reviewing yourself and refining what you're doing, and you're doing that on repeat, you're building consistency and you're just becoming a better social influencer, right? And that word might sound scary, but that's really what you are. You have a social media sphere, people who like you, they follow you, they want to know what's going on. So every time you take time to just kind of review and refine, then you're repeating that cycle of consistency, which really breeds excellency. And the last R, this one is super important, is refrain from comparison. It's really easy to get caught up in looking at, what other coaches are doing, how they're posting, how they're sharing, maybe how well their posts are performing, maybe comparing, your life to their life. And that's a really, really dangerous space to be in. So you can follow a couple coaches maybe for ideas, or like, oh, I wouldn't have thought to pose like that, or I wouldn't have thought to talk about like that. But you never want to compare yourself to them or be a copycat. Remember, originality is queen to the content king. So you really have to be authentically you. And to refrain from comparison, just know that the people who like you, who are following you, they'll resonate with you when you're being authentic. And that means that you don't have to be like every other coach. You just have to share your truth and your journey. And the more vulnerable and true to yourself you can be, the more it's going to attract your audience who really resonates with you and your story and what you're sharing. So those are some quick tips. Please go back, review the last 10 posts you've shared on social media, refine those posts, check out what you can improve on, what you need to continue doing. You repeat that habit to breed more consistency and excellency, and then you refrain from comparing yourself to other people and just work on you, your content, your story, your message. Hope that's helpful.